Are you prepared to reshape your mind, and in doing so your entire life? Perhaps you felt that quiet inner longing for a simpler, clearer version of living. A life where your thoughts aren't scattered and your purpose doesn't feel like a mystery. If that resonates with you, you're not alone. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a precise roadmap for the future. What matters most is that spark, the realization that you're ready for a change. Each of us walks a personal path toward becoming more grounded, more aligned, and more whole. And though it may feel overwhelming at times, that journey doesn't have to be lonely or directionless. The great Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, faced immense adversity, yet left behind a legacy of clarity, peace, and strength. Their approach was not complex, it was intentional. They believed that mastering life starts with mastering thought, that your mind is not just a tool but the foundation of your freedom. In this video, I'll guide you through 10 daily Stoic practices to anchor your mornings in clarity, calm, and purpose. These are not grand gestures. They are small, deliberate acts, quiet disciplines that over time will reshape the way you think, act, and live. Watch this until the end, because every practice builds on the last. And if you're ready to begin, truly begin, comment below, "I'm ready." Let's take the first step together. Practice 1. Focus on what's yours to shape. Have you ever noticed how a single traffic jam or offhand remark can sour your entire day? Something minor happens and suddenly you're weighed down by frustration, anger, or worry, as if your peace had no defense. I know that feeling. There was a time when every unexpected setback, every rude comment, every price hike seemed to steal my energy. It felt like I was constantly reacting to a world I couldn't control. But then I came across a Stoic insight that changed the way I saw everything. Separate what is yours to command from what is not. This idea sounds simple, but it's profound. Much of our pain comes not from what happens, but from believing we should control things that were never ours to govern in the first place. The weather, the economy, other people's opinions. We try to bend them to our will, and when we fail, we suffer. But here's the shift. Your thoughts, your actions, your choices, these are yours, and they are more powerful than they seem. You choose your attitude when someone misunderstands you. You decide how to respond when your plans unravel. You control whether a challenge becomes a setback or a stepping stone. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That line isn't just wisdom, it's a turning point. Real strength doesn't come from manipulating circumstances. It begins with cultivating a calm, deliberate mind. So I began each day by asking myself, what might go wrong today that I can't control, and how will I stay steady when it does? This reflection is a Stoic technique called Premeditatio Malorum, imagining setbacks ahead of time so they don't shake you when they arrive. And the results were remarkable. What used to spark anger, traffic, delays, critical comments, began to feel like background noise. Because when you train your focus on what is truly within reach, you stop wasting energy on what isn't. You stop being yanked around by the world. You start steering from within. Identifying your domain of control isn't passive surrender. It's the first step toward real autonomy. When you release the illusion that you control everything, you gain clarity. And with that clarity comes choice, moment by moment, decision by decision. Change doesn't start by rearranging the outside world. It begins by reshaping how you meet it. And when you meet life with awareness instead of resistance, everything changes. Practice 2. Begin with a clear aim. You wake up with an entire day stretching out before you, but within minutes you're pulled into headlines, messages, and noise. Before you've even taken your first deep breath, your attention is already gone. What you've lost isn't just time. You've lost direction. Without a defined purpose, your day isn't yours anymore. It belongs to emails, to other people's demands, to algorithms feeding you distractions. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius once reflected, "If you don't set a goal for your life, you'll wander through it without meaning." It's a truth that hits hard. A lack of purpose doesn't just make your day unproductive, it makes it feel hollow. But here's the good news. Your intention doesn't have to be monumental. It just has to be yours. Stoicism teaches us that each day is a canvas to shape our character. It's a training ground for our will, a small chapter in the larger story of becoming who we're meant to be. Take Stephen Hawking. Diagnosed with ALS at 21 and told he had just years to live, he could have surrendered. But instead he asked, "If I still have time, how can I make it matter?" His answer? To study, to explore, to expand the edges of human knowledge. Even as his body weakened, his purpose remained strong. He chose to spend his days thinking deeply, and in doing so, change the world. You may not be solving cosmic mysteries, but you can still ask yourself the same question each morning. What would make today meaningful? It could be completing a task you've been avoiding, showing up with presence in a conversation, or doing one small act that aligns with who you want to become. It's not about the scale. It's about intention. A clear aim gives shape to your day. It helps you say no to meaningless distractions, and yes to the things that count. Purpose isn't pressure. It's guidance. It's the compass that ensures you're not just reacting, but choosing. So tomorrow morning, before anything else, ask, why does today matter? Write it down. Repeat it aloud. Let it anchor you. When your actions are tied to purpose, you stop drifting and start living with direction. Practice 3. Choose challenge before it chooses you. Think about how often you avoid something uncomfortable. You delay that awkward conversation. You reach for your phone instead of starting a difficult task. You tidy your space instead of addressing what's really bothering you. It's natural, but it becomes a problem when it becomes your pattern. Because every time you dodge discomfort, you train yourself to retreat when life gets hard. And nothing truly valuable, no growth, no strength, comes from constant comfort. The Stoics understood this well. Their solution wasn't to wait for difficulty. It was to welcome it on their own terms. Seneca called it voluntary discomfort. He advised sleeping on the floor, eating simply, dressing plainly, not as punishment but as practice. Ask yourself, he wrote, is this really what I feared? Most of what frightens us isn't reality, it's imagination. And when you confront discomfort willingly, you strip it of its power. Look at Viktor Frankl. As a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, he lost everything: family, status, certainty. But in the darkest of places, he discovered a deeper truth. When we can no longer change our situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That wasn't theory. It was survival. He endured the unbearable, and yet found meaning. Not in comfort, but in courage. Not in control, but in choice. And you don't need to endure catastrophe to build mental toughness. You can start small right now. Turn off the heater in the morning. Take a cold shower. Skip the convenience of your usual routine. Fast for a few hours. Speak up when it would be easier to stay quiet. Each small act of chosen hardship becomes training. Training for patience. Training for grit. training for real life, because life will test you. And when it does, you'll want a mind that's already familiar with discomfort, not afraid of it. Intentional discomfort isn't about suffering. It's about sharpening. Each time you choose it, you tell fear, "I'm not yours to control." That's the Stoic way. Strengthen the spirit before the storm arrives. Practice 4. Rehearse what could go wrong. Premeditatio Malorum. Ever find yourself paralyzed by a worry that hasn't even happened yet? A tough conversation you're dreading, a plan that might fail, or just a bad mood triggered by imagining how your day might unfold. We often let imagined problems cloud our peace, but Stoicism offers a different approach. Face those possibilities on purpose. This ancient technique is called Premeditatio Malorum, the practice of mentally preparing for adversity. Seneca once said, "Nothing happens to the wise unexpectedly." Why? Because they already thought it through. The Stoics didn't wait to be blindsided. They met misfortune in their minds before it arrived so they could respond, not react. It's not pessimism. It's emotional armor. Picture a top-tier athlete. She doesn't just visualize winning, she trains for every error, interruption, and surprise. A bad start, a missed opportunity, loud crowds. She prepares not because she expects the worst, but because she wants to be ready, no matter what. I applied this before leaving a stable job. I wrote down every possible fear: losing income, feeling lost, criticism from others. Then I wrote how I'd respond: cut expenses, create a routine, call trusted friends. Just that act of preparation gave me clarity, and many of those fears, they never materialized. But if they had, I was ready. When you anticipate the storm, it doesn't catch you off guard. Instead of being shaken, you stand steady. Premeditatio Malorum doesn't invite chaos. It disarms it. You're not fueling anxiety, you're dismantling it. The moment you tell yourself, "If this happens, I will respond with this," you reclaim your power. Fear thrives in vagueness. Clarity dissolves it. So try this before a big moment, or even just before starting your day. Ask yourself, what could go wrong? And what will I do if it does? You'll find the fear softens, your breath slows, and your mind prepares, not to panic but to act. That's not weakness. That's strategy. And that's Stoic wisdom in motion. Practice 5. Reflect on mortality. Memento Mori. Have you ever paused in the quiet of your day and suddenly realized, this moment is gone forever? It's not morbid. It's the truth. Time isn't promised, and every second that passes is one you'll never reclaim. We often move through life as if it's endless. We delay the words we need to say. We set our dreams aside. We waste hours as if they cost nothing. But the Stoics remind us, the awareness of death sharpens the value of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that guide what you do and say and think." When you remember that your time is limited, you stop treating life like it's on layaway. You stop numbing yourself with distraction. You stop holding back. Instead, you become present. You become intentional. You start noticing the ordinary and realizing how extraordinary it actually is. A friend of mine lost his father unexpectedly, and in the grief that followed, he began writing one sentence every day. "If today were my last, what would I do differently?" That one question changed how he lived. He stopped tolerating toxic relationships. He stopped delaying passion projects. He picked up photography, something he'd shelved for years. Not for profit, just for joy. Memento Mori isn't about fear. It's about urgency with grace. It strips away the illusion of endless time and brings your focus back to what matters most. Because in the end, none of us know how many days we have left. But we do know we have today. You don't need dark symbols or rituals. You just need honesty. Ask yourself, if today was the end, would I be proud of how I showed up? If the answer is no, that's not a failure. It's a sign, a prompt, a gift. Let it shape your decisions. Let it guide your tone, your words, your choices. Because when you live with mortality in view, you live with more kindness, more presence, more courage. You stop surviving, and you start truly living. Practice 6. Pause before you respond. Do you remember the moment Will Smith shocked the world at the Oscars? That single impulsive act, a slap, eclipsed decades of hard-earned respect. It wasn't just about a celebrity losing his composure. It was a public lesson in something deeply human. How 1 second of reactivity can unravel a lifetime of discipline. And the truth is, it doesn't just happen on stage. It happens to us, every day. In arguments, in traffic, in texts that strike a nerve. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote. Don't react right away. Seems simple, but that pause, however brief, is where your freedom lives. Epictetus put it plainly. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond that matters. We can't control what others say, what breaks down, or what disrupts our plans. But we do control what comes next. That's where strength begins. So why do we react so fast? Because our ego feels under attack. Because survival instincts kick in. Because silence feels like surrender. But in truth, reaction without reflection is weakness in disguise. And silence, when chosen with intention, is wisdom. The Stoics didn't suppress emotion. They studied it. They learned to hold space between trigger and response. They practiced delaying their words, cooling their breath, writing instead of shouting. That pause is not passive. It's a form of power. Because in that gap you get to ask, is this reaction helpful? Is it true? Is it necessary? Without that pause, one careless sentence can end a relationship. One rash decision can reroute a career. But with it you gain clarity. And clarity is what turns instinct into integrity. Try this. When anger rises, breathe. Don't send that text yet. Don't storm into that room. Don't let your first impulse become your lasting consequence. Walk. Journal. Count to 5. Create distance, and in that distance you'll often find peace. Because maturity isn't measured by how fast you speak. It's measured by how well you listen to yourself first. So next time you're about to react, don't wait, and let reason take the wheel. Practice 7. Let go of the need to be seen. Have you ever done something meaningful, only to feel unsure about it later because no one acknowledged it? You acted with integrity. You made the right choice, but silence from others made you question it. In our world, approval is currency. A like, a compliment, a nod of recognition. It can shape your whole day. But the Stoics would ask, why should your self-worth belong to someone else's opinion? Seneca once warned, admiration is fleeting. Do not depend on it. Because the moment your value hinges on being noticed, you're no longer living for yourself. You're performing, contorting to match expectations. And each time you do, you hand over a little more of your freedom. External praise feels good, but it's a fragile foundation. Today's applause can become tomorrow's silence. And if your sense of purpose depends on being seen, you'll forever chase validation like a shadow that never holds still. Stoicism offers a steadier path. Act according to principle. Do the good thing because it is good, not because it will be praised, not because someone's watching. When you know your reasons, when your actions match your inner compass, you don't need a pat on the back. You need only the quiet strength of self-respect. Yes, we all want to be understood, but needing approval in order to feel whole is something else entirely. So take a moment to reflect. How much of what you did today was for yourself, and how much was to be admired? When you begin to choose from within, you gain something rare. Peace that doesn't depend on applause. Marcus Aurelius called this living in harmony with reason. It doesn't always get cheers, but it gives you something better: consistency, dignity, and internal calm. This is the reward of letting go of the crowd. You stop asking, "Did they notice?" and start asking, "Was it right?" When your life is guided by your values, you no longer beg to be seen. You see yourself, and that is enough. Practice 8. Use a journal to see yourself clearly. Our minds are rarely still. Each day, thoughts rush in, emotions rise, distractions pull, and clarity fades. It's easy to get lost in that noise and forget what truly matters. That's where journaling comes in. Not as a diary, not as a performance, but as a mirror. The Stoics practiced daily reflection through writing. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations was never meant to be read by anyone but himself. It wasn't polished. It was personal. A place where a Roman emperor wrestled with fear, pride, anger, and the pursuit of virtue. Your journal can be the same. Not a perfect picture, but an honest one. When you write down your thoughts, you slow them down. You begin to see what's driving you, what patterns keep repeating, what emotions are taking too much space, what you've ignored, misunderstood, or misjudged. It's not about judging yourself. It's about observing, separating what you feel from what you value. One question at a time. Was I patient today? Did I react or choose? What lesson did I overlook? And through these questions, something powerful happens. You begin to close the gap between who you are and who you want to become. In a fast world that rushes you forward, writing pulls you back to the present, grounds you. It invites you to think instead of react. You don't need eloquence. You need honesty. Even a few lines can become a map back to yourself. This isn't just self-help, it's self-discipline. A practice of seeing what's hidden and naming it. When you do that consistently, you don't just track your progress, you shape your character. So tonight or tomorrow morning, try it. A blank page, a simple question, and the truth. That's how Stoics sharpen the mind. Not by memorizing philosophy, but by turning it inward and putting it to paper. Practice 9. Begin with what you already have. Have you ever opened your eyes in the morning and instantly felt the weight of everything you lack? Not enough sleep, not enough time, not enough motivation, money, or meaning. It's how many of us start our day already behind, already burdened. But the Stoics would remind us that lack is often not about reality. It's about perspective. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." It's not how much you possess, it's how much you overlook. Gratitude doesn't ignore hardship. It simply refuses to let what's missing blind you to what's present. Most of our suffering begins not in the absence of things, but in our obsession with what we think should be different. When you start your day naming what's wrong, you train your mind to search for problems. But when you begin by noticing what's right, you shift everything. You don't need a journal full of sunshine quotes. You need a moment of sincerity. Think of Nick Vujicic, born without limbs. Yet every morning he chooses to focus on what he can do, not what he cannot. He speaks, he writes, he uplifts. He wakes up not with bitterness, but with purpose. Gratitude isn't something you feel, it's something you practice. Each morning before complaints take hold, pause. List 3 things. Anything: a warm bed, a peaceful breath, a call you're looking forward to. These aren't small. They're the roots of a stable mind. And if you want to take it further, try this challenge. Don't complain about anything for the first hour after waking. No moaning about work. No grumbling about weather or deadlines. Just quiet control. You'll notice something strange happens. Your thoughts slow down. Your emotions soften. Your outlook shifts from scarcity to stability. Gratitude won't solve every problem, but it will change the mindset you bring to it. And that often is all you need. Practice 10. Guard your first hour from negativity. Think about how your day begins. Before your feet hit the ground, your mind is already speaking. Groaning about the alarm, dreading responsibilities, murmuring complaints about everything from weather to work. It seems harmless, but that morning commentary sets the emotional tone for the hours ahead. The Stoics taught us, the way you begin matters, because early thoughts plant the seeds of your mindset. When you complain first thing in the morning, you hand control to negativity, and that momentum carries you forward, whether you realize it or not. But if you can stop yourself just for 1 hour, you flip the script. You declare, I'm choosing intention over reaction. This practice isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about discipline. It's about refusing to be led by your first impulse. In that first hour, don't vent. Don't gossip. Don't scroll aimlessly or start mentally tallying what's wrong. Instead, be deliberate. Move slowly. Breathe deeply. Sip your coffee without distractions. Write a line of gratitude. Stretch. Think. Your first hour is your foundation. Build it strong. Because when you begin with restraint, you don't just survive the day, you lead it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being. That's your purpose. Not to hide from difficulty, but to rise with quiet strength. Just 1 hour. No complaints. No whining. No surrender to frustration. It's a small shift, but it speaks volumes. It says, I'm not at the mercy of my mood. I'm the one steering. And when you can do it once, you'll know you can do it again, and again, and again. That's how self-mastery begins, 1 hour at a time. Begin the quiet revolution within. You've just walked through 10 Stoic disciplines. Not theories but tools. Not ideas to admire but habits to live. Each one is a door. Together they lead to a different way of seeing yourself. A different way of standing in the world. You've learned how to take back your thoughts. How to slow down your reactions. How to step into discomfort with strength. And how to treat time as the treasure it really is. You've learned that you don't need to control everything, only yourself. And in doing so, you unlock the only freedom that lasts. So now the question is simple. Which of these practices speaks to you the loudest? Which one are you willing to begin today? You don't need to do all 10. Just start with one. One honest pause. One moment of clarity. One morning without complaint. Let it be the start of something real. Something steady. Something that's truly yours. If this message found you at the right time, leave a comment below. Let me know which practice you're committing to, and if it helped, share it. because there's someone out there who needs these reminders just as much as you did. Thank you for staying to the end. This journey of becoming grounded, focused, and strong. It's not flashy. It's not loud. But it is life-changing. And it begins here. It begins with you. It begins now.